Hi, I'm Will. Hey, I'm Will. Hi, I'm Will. I'm Will, and this is Backyard Outdoors. Welcome to Backyard Outdoors, and this is Backyard Outdoors. And I'm Will, and this is Backyard Outdoors. Hi, I'm Will, and this is Backyard Outdoors. And we've been talking a lot about canoeing lately, and what we're going to talk about now is how you can rig a canoe rack for your truck or your car for on the cheap. Now you can go out and buy those fancy new canoe racks like Yakima and all them other ones, and they're great racks, they really are. But they're really cashy, and you don't have to do that to haul your canoe to where you want to go. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. For instance, like the car here, you've got a rack on top of this car already, and it's even got the cross pieces on it. But sometimes that just ain't high enough when you mount a big canoe on a car this size, like one of these little crossovers. So what you can do is you get yourself a couple of 2x2s. You get them at any lumber store, and you get the 10 footers. You can get the 10-foot, 2x2s. And what you do is you cut them down. And you cut them down to, 4.5, 5 feet. And then you can mount them on top of your rack, like this. And you put them right back to your cross pieces here. And you get the other one on here, and you put that on there also. Now, you can do a couple things with that. You can either mount them on there with bungees, or you can do like I do. I went out and bought me some big-ass hose clamps. And you just put them on there like that and tie them right down to the rack. And what that does is it brings up that high enough for when you set your canoe on it, you don't stand any chance of scraping the top of your car. Alright? Now, you can mount your canoe on there, and then you can use 1.5 inch straps and ratchet straps to throw the top of the canoe and tie it down. A lot of people will put rope off the front of their car, or one off the back of the car to the ends of the canoe, but in all honesty, once you have them 1.5 inch ratchet straps holding your canoe down, it's not going nowhere. Trust me. Alright, the other thing you can do is for trucks, pickup trucks. And what we want to do here is we're going to show you what we're going to use here real quick. We're going to show you what we're going to use here real quick on how to do this rack on this truck. Now you could just load it in the back of a truck and tie it down for goodness sakes, but the truth of the matter is if you're going to take it any distance, you can't do it. And what we've done is we went to the lumber store again and we bought some 1x3s and some big iron black pipe. Now you can use conduit. I used conduit the first time, and it kind of bent. Even the heavy wall stuff bends. So I went back and I got myself some of that good iron gas pipe. Alright? Then you're going to need some ratchet straps. And you can buy these at any big box lumberyard store like Menards or Home Depot or wherever, or even Wally World. And you get them little small ratchet straps, and you're going to need these to hold your rack on your truck. Then you're going to need the 2-inch or 1.5 inch ratchet strap to hold the canoe on that. Alright? And what you basically do is you cut down your 2x3s into about 2.5, 3-foot sections. And what you're going to want to do is you want them tall enough to clear the cab of your truck when you mount these things in the stake holes. And what we're talking about is what every pickup has. They have these stake holes here on the sides of the truck. Now, I also took these and I drilled holes in them big enough for that black pipe to fit through. As you can see. Alright? And then I put hose clamps on the top to keep them from splitting. I also took some eye bolts, drilled holes in and mounted eye bolts in that, so I got something to hold on to with my 2-inch straps when I mount my canoe. And what I also did is I used short eye bolts for the back ones, long eye bolts for the front ones, because as you can see, short eye bolts for the front ones, long eye bolts for the back ones. The back spikes, or the back poles that we're going to put in the back pockets are shorter than the front one, because you really want it to clear the cab. And what you do is you just mount it in there like this, the eye bolts out. Alright? And you just mount both of them in there. And like I said, the short ones go in the back, and the long ones go clear up to the front. Now I've got a toolbox in the back of my pickup, so I move my toolbox forward enough to clear the spikes and still be able to open the lid. Alright? Then you take your black pipe, and you have to take them out for a minute and do this, and you slide that pipe in there. Now I mounted hose clamps on the inside there because that's how far I want it to go. Stick that back in there, like this. That way it don't want to slide around. If you mount those hose clamps in it, they'll try to hold it in place a little better like that. You see what I'm saying? On the hose clamps. Alright, this is the first one. And the same way up here. Hose clamps on the pipe. That way you know where you're at with it. That. Like that. Alright, now, I don't know if you noticed, but you can tell that I've messed this up already. Because this is my, the long ones are my short ones, and the short ones are my long ones. The long bolts, that's why I marked them. Just to make sure they go where they're supposed to go. And I didn't do that. I wasn't paying no attention because I'm trying to video this for you guys. There we go. Short ones on the back, long ones on the front. That way, we can make sure that the Canoe clears the hood of the cab. Alright? Now once you got those on there, you can put it on there right now. You can put your Canoe on there and run down the road with it. But the problem with that is if the wind catches it, it's going to pull your whole rack clear up out of the back of the truck. You need something to hold that down. Now you can use bungee cords if you want. You can hook a bungee cord on here and then hook it to your springs on the back of your truck. But I don't do that because I'm not that trusting of bungee cords, and bungee cords will stretch. What I use is I get these little ratchet straps I showed you earlier, and you can get them in 6-foot lengths if you want, but I cut mine down because I don't care to have that much excess on there because it'll flop and fly around. And you hook it on the little hook here, and you just come up here and hook it on that ring we showed you earlier, that eyeball. Then you just pull it down. Ratchet it down. And what that will do is it will hold your rack in place. So if wind gets up under the Canoe while you're going down the road, it won't blow the whole thing, just won't fly off your truck and land in the middle of the road. Now what I also do is I went out and I bought some table leg rubber for the feet of a table leg. You put them on a leg of a table or a chair and you put them on the ground, you know, so they don't scrape up your floor. And I bought 4 of these. And basically what I bought them for is so you can put them on the end of your pipe. Because trust me, one of these days you may not be as tall as me, but someone will be. And they're going to come along and they're going to whack their head on this pipe. And it's better to have a little rubber end on it rather than just the sharp edge of the pipe cut people open and what have you like that. It's not very much. And the truth of the matter is the whole thing cost me about 40 bucks to do it. And then I made pretty much everything else on my own hook. And then you just mount your Canoe on. I made my pipe long enough that I could put 2 canoes on this truck and tie it down. Same with my ratchet strap. When I bought my 1.5-inch ratchet strap, I bought a 25-footer. That way I could use it. To ratchet 2 canoes down with 1 strap or 2 straps, one in the front, one in the back. Again, you can attach a line to the front of your boat and one to the back of your boat and tie it down if you're that insecure about it. But you really don't have to, because it's not going to go anywhere. Anyway, that's, as my friends like to call it, a redneck canoe rack. Now, there's other ways to do it on cars. And what you can do is this, is you can go out and buy yourself a fun noodle. If you don't have a rack on your car, you can go out and get a couple of fun noodles. You know what I'm talking about, those foam rubber tubes that stretch out and you play with them in swimming pools or lakes or whatever. And you just get those things that size. And what you can do is you slit them right down the middle, halfway through, so they're still one piece. and you hook them on the edges of your canoe. It'll fit right on the gunnels of your canoe. And you can mount it on top of a car or anything like that, and then just strap it down. Now, the only problem is you're probably going to have to run your straps through your windows to hold your boat on. But that's a couple ideas to haul your own canoes and to make your own canoe racks. Anyway, that's about it. And this is a Redneck canoe rack making with Backyard Outdoors, and I'm Will, and this is Backyard Outdoors.